In this segment, we will be talking about decimals and what you could do with decimals. So we're going to talk about manipulating decimals, starting with adding and subtracting. The first main rule that you should have is align the decimal place. So, for example, if we have 1.01 minus 0.34, then what you are going to do is you could write it like this and make sure that the decimal place is aligned. So then that would make something like 7 and then 6 and then 0. So the answer for this will be 0.67. If there are some spaces, then you're going to just replace them as 0. So for example, if I had 3 minus 0.05, then what I'll do is, starting with the 3, there is no decimal place, so I'm going to put a decimal right there. And then you have 0.05, so you see that the decimal is still aligned. Then I'm going to add zeros here before I reduce. So therefore, I'm going to be left with 5, 9, and then 2. So therefore, it'll be 295. All right, and once again, I do like putting any side work on the right side. That way it just keeps my working clean, and I get to keep track of what I'm doing, especially if you have multiple numbers. So when you're doing integers, don't forget that you should still include the integer rules. I'm not going to go over them. You could look back at the integer rules to clarify that point. Now, for multiplying, or I think I wrote it as adding, yeah. So multiplying, you're just going to count the total decimal places. So what I mean by that is we will have, let's say, something like 3 times 0.4. So if I do this, then if I did the normal multiplication, I'll put the 0.4 on top just because it's kind of a longer number, and it's nice to just have the 3 at the bottom there. So you do the multiplication like normal, 12, and then you add the 0, and then 3 times 0 is 0. So I get 12. But now I have to count how many decimal places I went. So I went 1 decimal place here. There's no decimal place in the bottom, so it's only 1. Therefore, I will go here 1 decimal place. So the answer for that is 1.2. All right, so let's try another number. Let's do 35 times 0.0004. Actually, I'm going to do 3.5. 3.5 times 0.0004. All right, looks daunting, but let's give this a shot. I'll do the 0.0004 on the top there. I'll do the 3.5. So I know that 5 times 4 is 20. And then I got the zeros up front. And then I put a 0 first. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 there, 1. And then 0, 0. That's it. Or 0, I guess. So I add these up normally. 1, 4, 0. Make sure that any zeros at the end do get kept in there. And then now I will count how many decimal places I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 decimal places, and there's 1 here. So Therefore, there are going to be 5 decimal places that I need to go. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'll need to put the decimal place here. I could put a 0 in front. I'll put a 0 under the missing loops there. And so my answer is going to be 0.0014. Now at this point, if you have any numbers, zeros at the end, you could remove them. If you are asked for significant figures, don't forget that you need to include those zeros as well. And last one here is going to be dividing. So remove the decimal from the divisor, which is the dividing number, or denominator. That's another way to look at it. So let's do an example. Let's say we have 1.2 divided by 0.4. So now you have to be careful with this one. I'll rewrite it first, I guess. And what I'll do is I want to get rid of the decimals from the divisor here, right? So what I'll do is I'll count a decimal place, move it to the side here. So I know I'm moving it by 1, which means here I'm also going to move it by 1. So the question then changes into 12 divided by 4. Now we all know that the answer for this is 3. All right, so what if there's another example here where we have 12 divided by 0.004? What do we do there? So same rules here. We are going to do 3 decimal places, which means from the 12, I have decimal place right there. I'll move it 1, 2, 3 spaces as well. 0, 0, 0, new decimal there. So I will then get 12,000 divided by 4. I could do long division for this, or I could just know that it's 3,000. So if you need to do long division, you could do that as well. I'll give you one more example that requires a little bit more long division. So let's say it is last one here. Let's make it 56 divided by 0.04. All right, so what do I do? Well, first of all, the rules still apply. I do want to move it. The decimals have to get out of the divisor or that second number, which means it becomes 56. And go 1, 2 spaces. And then my new question will then be 5,600 divided by, and we have simply 4. Right, then if you need to, you could do long division. I would do on the side here, in and out. So in is the 5,600 and the 4 there. 4 goes in there once. I bring that down. I like writing the arrows, by the way. If you don't quite do that, it's a good habit to get used to, because then it helps you keep track. Oops, one too many there. Yeah, well, you get the point. And you have 0. So the answer here is going to be 1,400. And it is okay to have decimal places in the numerator. So actually, you know what? I'm going to go with one more example. Let's say we have 0.56 divided by 0.4. All right, so same rule. I look at the denominator, move the decimal back, and I have to go one place. So therefore here I also go one place. And then I am left with 5.6 divided by 4. So yes, there's still that decimal, but when I put it into the long division style here, in and out, so 5.6 goes inside, 4 goes outside. All right, you would want this. So I get 1, and then that's 4, and then I'm left with 1. Now the decimal place goes on the top there. You could ignore the decimal place for the bottom. You don't need to do anything there. So 4, 16, and 0. So my answer is 1.4. So remember that when you are applying integers into this system, just remember that all of the rules are still the same. So any rules of integers with adding and subtracting are still the same. So the same goes with multiplying and dividing.